Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Igaga, and as always, we bring you the one show that lights up your Wednesday night. The only show that is able to keep you up awake because you never know what's going to hit you. Now, tonight, we are here at our new home, and it's called the Hilton Garden Inn. Fancy place, as you can see, and that's why we've got fancy people with us tonight. That's the way it is. First of all, I want to welcome Pamela, Natasha, Atkunda to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you
That's
for
a mouthful,
me.
so I'm just going to call you Pam. I hope that is all right.
Perfect.
Perfect. Fantastic.
Yes.
Karibu.
Yes.
Sam, good to have you here.
My pleasure.
You're a man who wears many hats, even though today you're not wearing a hat. But I'll assume you still have
it. Is imaginary.
Yes. Yeah. Also, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
First of all, you have to get onto social media. Go to our Twitter handle. We've got a lot of discussions going on there. And currently, we are talking about men eating their cake and having it. Are you a man out there who is enjoying the benefits of married life, but are not taking the steps to get there? Some people might even just assume your name is the only Jalo, because we know he's one of those people who are doing that. But we'll spare you, because we want to start with the men. Now, Sam, before we went on air, I asked,
yes,
are men out there eating their cake and having it? I mean, they are enjoying the benefits of married life, but they are not committing. Your thoughts?
Well, I want to pick on your idiom that you've just used. Are men eating their cake and having it? If we are to just look at it directly the way it is, once something is eaten, man, it's gone.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Once you've eaten it, you've eaten it.
Yeah.
But if we get out of the idiomatic kind of speaking and we go to the second phrase, the way you used it, I think it makes it much clearer. When you say they are enjoying the benefits of marriage, but they do not want to get into marriage. Yes, that one is true. That is happening. Precisely.
But what is causing that? Why shouldn't I just, as a man, just get married and enjoy the benefits as I should? Because I believe that's what Chris believes. So
Yes.
why are men not doing that?
Well, I want to believe that it's a whole host of very many reasons.
Yeah.
But I think the most outstanding one for most people, for most of those men who are doing that, it is because there is an outrageous increase of the cost of preparation for marriage currently.
Yeah.
If you talk about dowry, for example, I have a friend of mine. We went with him to some place somewhere in eastern Uganda. Guess what? We reached there and the young man was asked for 20 million for dowry.
Yeah.
And of course, later we came to understand that they simply did not want him to take their daughter. So they said, we are going to put in place every type of wall imaginable to stop him from taking our daughter.
Yeah.
But you know, this young man loved this girl in and out.
Yeah.
So what he did, he said, well, I don't have the 20 million. They said, if you don't have the 20 million, then simply walk away. He walked away. He went and mobilized the 20 million. Mm-hmm. Within about a month time, he had the 20M. Yeah. He brought it. Now they had no other reason to stop him from taking this girl. Yeah. He took the girl and he vowed that was the last coin they would ever get from him. Yeah. And this has been 9 years. They have never gotten any other coin. So I think it is an outrageous cost. It is increasing. To marry somebody. Yeah. It is increasing. So that's one of the reasons why many men they opt out. They say, well, I think I can get what I want from a woman without having to go through all these kinds of things and all them sell my plot of land to pay the dowry and all those kinds of things.
All right. Chris, is it financial? Is that the only reason why men are not committing and getting married?
See, Peter, as you're starting the show, you mentioned a guy called Jaluo.
Yeah.
The likes of him.
Yeah.
And it's a trend, unfortunately, that's been there with some of the younger men. Not just younger men, but there's a certain segment of society where men aren't marrying the women because they're getting all the benefits. Mm-hmm. A guy meets a girl and he starts saying, oh, you look so beautiful, I love your company, and all these niceties are because he is working his way from her head to her waistline and below.
All right.
All right.
Especially below.
So then when he gets just below the belt and he leaves there,
Yeah.
it's a bit difficult to convince him to invest the 20 million
Yeah.
when he has the end game. So I think that men are eating their cake and having it back because some of the ladies are generous.
So okay, that's a very heavy term, but
That-
okay.
How do I
But
say it?
it is what it is. So can we then say it's the ladies to blame for that?
She's right here.
So
Okay, I actually do believe the ladies, we play a very big role in,
so it's your fault.
no, it's not our fault, but we play a role in it. Because if you don't allow this man to have his cake, he won't have it. If you don't give him the cake, he will not have it. So if you tell the guy that, you know what, I'm serious, we're not doing this before this, he will definitely either walk away or stay and do what you want to be done.
Are you aware that in Uganda alone, there are more than 3 times amount of females to males?
Yes, I'm aware.
So is walking away really an option for a lady? Just,
By the
just
way,
a question. Just
by
a
the way,
question.
yes, and this may many people, when you say that, it makes us look very desperate, but that's not the case.
Okay.
Yes, I think a woman, if you want something, you
Yeah.
can set your terms down on the table and say, you know what, you're not having this before you do this. You can't take me home to stay with you
Yeah.
before you see my parents, or put a ring on my finger.
Yeah.
And that's it. And any man who knows your worth will actually stay and give you what you need, what you deserve.
Okay. Well, Chris, Pam has talked about worth, knowing your worth, and all that. Is it okay then, in your opinion, for a man to, some people call it test driving, I mean, because you need to know what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
getting into. So, and the only way you can do that is to live with this woman. So you're saying, look, we want to see how this will happen and where it will go. Then from there, can make the decision for both of them, whether to or not to get married.
So, Peter, there's certain things in life that ought to teach us certain principles. Does poison kill?
I like to believe so.
Yes. Do you
If
test
it is
drive?
not
It does.
expired.
Do you test drive? Yeah, if it's not, I don't know. Whether
think that
expired
does.
or not,
I
my
think it
question
still
is,
does.
do you test drive poison to check whether it kills or not?
I'll tell you why that is a little bit different, because poison will kill you. This
Exactly.
man will not necessarily kill
So here's the thing I'll tell you.
you. Yeah.
Every woman you love, if you're a man, every woman you love will make a great wife.
Huh?
Okay? Anyone.
Yes.
You
That you love,
basically,
right.
you have a selection, you choose carefully, choose well, marry, there'll be a great wife. Here's the thing. I could have chosen one out of, 20 million beautiful Ugandan women, and I still would have chosen a great wife. It's just that I happened to zero in on the one I wanted, the one I saw. I was convinced about her with my head and my heart, and I went in there determined to make marriage work. Because here's the mistake we make. We think that marriage works because you have tried it and tested it. There's nothing further from the truth. And I'll tell you what, Peter, I've been married coming to 15 years now.
Yeah.
I have had ample opportunity for that marriage to go south.
Okay.
So many opportunities for it to go wrong.
Yeah.
And every single time I've got to tell myself, no, you don't have to pick up that fight. No, you don't have to say that. My wife and I are basically continuously making it work. Marriage, you make it work.
Choosing.
Marriage doesn't just happen. It's not.
choosing
You don't
to
go
make it work.
downstream. Anything that goes downstream is lousy. I mean, dead fish swim downstream.
Oh wow.
But,
Right?
but I'll tell you what, Chris, and I'm going to want to hear from Sam on this. Now, I think Chris is portraying a very ideal picture. Now, on the issue of a man testing.
Ideal, Peter. Did you say ideal picture?
Yes.
Making marriage work is ideal.
No. I'm saying the picture you're painting of not of meeting your partner. That any woman you meet will make a great
But
wife.
that's the point. Peter, we have not yet
Just
talked
hold
about
on.
mistakes yet, right?
Okay.
I'm just saying that actually any one guy
Yeah.
can fall in love with any one woman and they make a marriage work. Because
choice.
it's a choice you make.
It's a choice you make.
Marriage doesn't
all right.
fall from the sky
That
and you
one
don't
is a
test drive
choice.
it.
Okay, but Sam, I need your intervention here.
Yes,
because,
please.
First of all, you've just recruited a cheerleader. She's saying yes,
But
yes,
she,
yes,
she,
yes.
she knows,
It's
she
the
knows what the
truth.
deal
But
is.
I want to ask a question, and then I'll need you to also answer it. Now, Sam,
Yes, please.
sometimes people get into relationships with the wrong people, and then it doesn't matter how good you are, the relationship just doesn't work. All right, and it reaches a point when both parties, or at least one party, and some people who insist end up in death because they kept insisting, saying, no, it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work. Now, if you meet this lady, all right, you start dating, you start living together, then you realize that she chews with her mouth open, and you don't like people who chew with their mouth open, and that's a deal breaker to you. Isn't that an opportunity for you to course correct?
You've been enjoying benefits, but you don't watch them out.
Wait.
Peter, really?
No.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
sir.
All right,
Your
okay.
thoughts.
Well, if you are going to break the deal because somebody chews
No,
while
that
the
was an
mouth is
example.
open,
That was an example.
then I think from the very beginning you are not yet ready for marriage.
Sam,
And
let-
also when you say marrying the wrong person,
but just before you continue,
Yes.
Sam, do you realize that to somebody, chewing with the mouth open is not a big deal? The same way somebody can also say, oh, he only chased you around the house with a knife, but he didn't stab you. It's not a big deal. So it differs to individuals. It might look small to one person, but it's a deal breaker to another.
yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you need not to only say it's a big deal to one person and it's a deal breaker to another. You should be asking yourself, why is it a big deal to somebody and why is it not a big deal to another person? I think that's where the real deal is. That's where the real issue is.
Yeah.
Could it be about their personal values? Could it be about how they were groomed?
Yeah.
Could it be about the kind of people they have in their life and what they learn from them?
Yeah.
Why is it that this one thing could be a big deal to Chris, but not a big deal to me? I think that's where the real deal really is.
Yeah.
I want to believe that one of the reasons why most of the men are doing what you're talking about, eating their cake and having it, has something to do with vision in their life.
Yeah.
I want to believe that most of them lack a personal vision. I will tell you this from my heart of hearts, that a visionary man will have no time whatsoever to run around chasing girls and women, testing this and testing the other. He will be so busy focusing on the pursuit of his vision that he will find this a real deal breaker, chasing women all over the place. A real visionary man will actually be looking for the suitable helper to help him focus on this vision, this purpose he has in life. So I want to believe that quite often it goes back to their values, whether they have a vision or not, whether they have... Why is it a deal breaker to him and not to me? It's because we have a difference in what we stand for. And you know, as a man, not even just a man only, but also as a woman, if you stand for nothing, you will just fall for anything.
Yeah.
You will fall for chewing with the mouth open, you just fall
There
for
is a
that.
song about that actually.
Yes.
With the mouth open.
No, stand
Oh,
for
I was
something,
joking.
or for anything.
Exactly. So I think it's about what somebody values.
Yeah. But now, Pam, you know clearly your element, your space. My question for you is just one quick one. All right. Now, Sam has said you need to have a vision. So what if this man is busy looking for that helper? All right. And how is he going to find her if he doesn't go looking?
Okay.
Don't answer that. We'll be right back after the break. We are here at the Hilton Garden Inn talking about men who are eating their cake and having it. Are you a man like the only Jalur who's eating his cake and having it? Well, we'd like to hear from you on our social media pages. Go to our Facebook page, like it, let's have this chat, and also go to our Twitter handle. It's NTV MEN UG. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, we are here at the Hilton Garden Inn talking about men who are eating their cake and having it. Are they in a relationship without committing to marriage and still enjoying the benefits, just like somebody who we know who's close to this show? Well, I don't know. It's up to you to decide. Now, Pam,
Yes.
before we went into the break, how is a man supposed to find that helper, as Sam clearly put it, without going shopping?
Yeah, but even in shopping, do you go to every shop? You can choose to go to 2 shops, or you can choose to go to 1 shop. You still, if you are determined to find what you're looking for,
Yeah.
trust me, if you have a list of things, you look at that dress or look at that trouser and say, you know what, I needed a blue trouser. That's what I want. And you pick out that blue. You don't have to look much. You don't have to look much. That's just it.
Okay, so then how comes the rate of divorce and relationships going wrong is actually on the rise?
I think it's a combination of very many
Yes.
factors. There's
Yes.
so many, but some of the things could be I think people get married for the wrong reasons. Some get married because it's the age you want to get married. It's the age. You're probably 30 and your mom is saying, please get married, and you do it.
Yeah.
Some it's just to fulfill, especially people who have big weddings. It's just to maybe rub it in people's faces. You know what? I got the money. You denied, you did not accept my vibe when I gave it to you, and yes, I'm throwing it in your face. So things like that, and like you say, choices. You make a choice every single day you are with a person. I'm not married, but you make a choice. You're like, you know what? I'm going to make it work. You will not. Probably you meet another woman or meet another man, and they are definitely sexier, or they look better, or they're taller. They have things that your wife or husband doesn't have, but you make a choice. You know what? I'm going to stick to this person till the end. We vowed, and it's going to be till the end. This is a choice. Everything.
Sounds very fairy tale.
Yeah, it's not a fairy tale. It's the truth.
Yes, it sounds.
Even the one.
Yeah.
Even people who say, "Oh, I'm looking for the one." The one is a choice. It's not that there is God. It's a choice. You make that person the one. You say, you know what, God, this is the person I've chosen, and this is the one, and he or she is going to be the one, and that's it.
Okay. Now, Chris, we relationships grow. All right.
Yes.
They have to be nurtured, just like anything. And it starts small and then it grows. By the time, not that I'm advocating for men who are eating their cake and having it, but by the time a man, Sam talked about having a man having a vision, loses that vision, is it really his fault if his vision is not sustained? Because by the time he moved in with this lady or she moved in with him, it was going somewhere. Okay?
No,
Then it
that's an
just
assumption,
stopped.
Peter. You are assuming he was going somewhere. It's not a given that by that time when he met that lady,
Yeah.
he was already going somewhere. No, that's just an assumption.
Might
But
have
then,
been stuck.
okay, fair enough. Maybe that
There
is
could
true.
be some
Yeah.
who were already going somewhere.
Yeah.
My wife found me going somewhere, I can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah.
If we had much more time, I would get into the details of what that means.
Yeah.
But there are many who are simply going nowhere. I mean, look at this gentleman whom you meet, and at 24, 26, you hear him say, when I grow up, and then you know what? Guy, you've been here for 2.5 decades. You are saying when you grow up, when will you ever grow up? Anyway,
Yeah.
there is a difference between growing up and growing old, and many men are busy growing old and not growing up. So the ladies meet them when they are going nowhere, and
Yeah.
the ladies also don't realize they are meeting somebody going nowhere. They simply go with them nowhere.
I mean, okay.
Wow.
Wow. I mean,
He has a point.
yeah. And,
A very big, very,
tough,
very
tough,
big.
tough
Yes,
one,
you
eh?
all move, and you're like, you know what? Wherever life takes us,
whatever
let's
we
go.
find ourselves.
So, okay, my question is then, fair enough, so I'm going nowhere.
Yeah.
She joins me on this journey to nowhere.
nowhere.
Whose fault is it?
Both of you.
Oh,
So
she had a choice. We've been talking about choice.
Peter,
She made a choice to go
Peter,
nowhere. with him.
here's
Exactly. So it's her fault, not mine.
here's a bit of the problem. Just recently, I was hanging out with a friend of mine. He's a very detailed man. When we were younger, we were in a music group. Believe it or not, Peter, I was really good at singing and dancing.
Wow.
What went wrong?
I would like to
I
see
don't know what
that.
happened when I grew older, but I was. But he was the musical genius in the group. He was the instrumentalist. He got the music tracks together and things like that. And every time we got a new piece of equipment, a new keyboard, a synthesizer, or whatever it is, he would get the manual and read it from cover to cover. Like from cover to cover. And he was so good at operating most of the equipment that we had because he read the manual from cover to cover.
To cover.
Here is the problem. We did not just happen. Human beings didn't just happen. We are a divine idea. We are a God idea. The God who created us a certain way, and he gave us certain rules of engagement. In other words, say for example, if a man wants to make love to a woman, God says, and he thinks it's important that this man leaves his father and mother, stop being a baby, stop sucking your thumb, leave home, right? Commit to this woman in marriage, then enjoy the benefits of marriage like sex.
Is that written in the Bible?
Oh yes,
Yes,
I
it
can
is.
prove
Yes,
it so
it
many
Yes,
times.
it is.
It is.
So, and you're feigning
You are the only
ignorance.
one who is
No,
not
no, no,
aware.
I-
I just wanted to know to be 100%
Sorry,
sure.
sorry, Peter.
Yes, it is.
I needed to be 100%.
I have been listening. This is a guy who keeps telling me to quote my facts, to get my facts. Where did you get that Bible verse?
Okay, so in the book of Genesis,
That you should get married.
hey,
It says a man shall leave his home. But it
Yes.
says
a
get
man
married.
shall leave his father,
Father
and mother
and
be
get joined to his own wife, and the
Yes.
two
and
shall
the two shall
become one.
Yeah, but
And
you
how
talk
so
about
do
marriage.
that?
So what do you understand?
okay. You know, you guys are beating around the bush.
Yeah.
People were getting married because there was a need to get married.
Okay.
Right now, there is no need to get married. Women were getting married because of security and all these lavish things that come with marriage. How would you convince a young lady out there to get married right now? I was telling you guys off here that there's actually a statistic that stipulates that people who are in a come we stay type of relationships have the same benefits that guys who are in marriage
And
relationships.
that statistic is from what research?
These are research.
What research?
From which research?
Here
Well,
I'm
no,
going with the whole time.
No, honestly, like
So-
you
so-
guys
so-
are just.
so stay
you know
here.
what?
Let's talk for a
but you
bit.
know what? I hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's only how he's saying it.
Okay.
Okay. Because you see, the reality, you find people who are in come-we-stay relationships who refer to their better half as either their husband or wife. And without being stoned or anything, I think there are a lot of ladies out there who are acting desperate, and they find those men who are going nowhere, and
Yeah.
it's fine.
And they
Yes.
join them.
Yes, and they go with
So,
them.
so Peter,
nowhere.
we're mixing two things.
I think so.
Before Jaluo interrupted, I wish you could come back. Where is that hologram, Jaluo? Hey,
the way it came,
Abracadabra,
it
come back.
disappeared.
but I really think that there is a big difference between the conversation about men and purpose. Very different from the conversation about men and marriage. A man who's got a purpose, who's going somewhere, is a better deal to marry than one who doesn't.
Absolutely.
But it's very possible to have a guy who may not have a good, serious plan,
Yeah.
but gets what marriage is.
Yeah.
And he's focused and he's faithful and he
and
stays.
he makes it work.
Yeah, and because there is actually marriages that are working, and the woman is really driving affairs. I'm not saying that's ideal, but it still can
I was
work,
about to
Yes.
ask that.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So I don't want us to mix both those things.
Yeah.
What we're talking about now is about commitment. Now, let me
Yes.
tell you another reason why men, like the ones Peter is talking about and Jaluo just appeared and talked about,
Avoiding marriage.
avoid marriage. It's really a thing about commitment. So here's a guy who has had his parents take care of him for most of his life. Okay? They paid school fees, you've gone to university, everything is paid for. Your dad calls his friend to give you a job. You don't even know how to apply for a job. You show up and the dad says, hey, don't be too hard on my boy. So you know, you waltz in at 9, you leave at 4, you get a salary for doing no work,
You go
etc.
home.
Yeah.
Okay? And then he meets this very hot girl in the office. And he starts getting ideas and designs, you know, chats her up, etc. One thing is leading to another, and she likes him and he likes her.
Yeah.
And then she's saying, okay, so where is this going? And you know what she's saying. Are you going to put a ring on it? Like, ho, 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 wait up.
I want one talked about
But she
race.
No one
stays
talked
there.
about. Wait. And he says no one talked about marriage. What's his problem? He's thinking the movie playing in his mind is, oh my God, so. I mean, she's going to depend on me, so I'm going to have to pay rent, and I'm going to have to put food on the table, and then one day she'll be pregnant, and she'll say, honey, we're expecting, and he'll say, what are we expecting? I was like, because you know.
Yeah.
You're going to marry her, and the next thing she's going to say, let's start the family, meaning let's have babies. When babies start coming, when they need pampers or diapers, they need them. When they need milk, they need it.
Yeah.
And there is no letting up. So most men actually eat their cake and have it back because they're also afraid of commitment. And that's a real thing.
But
It's a real thing.
I agree 100%. But do you realize that commitment, just as the word, is a very big word, and it comes with a huge responsibility.
Of course.
If this man is not sure, is there anything wrong?
But Peter, you are living. There is a daughter. Look, I am raising a daughter.
Yes.
I raise my daughter, and then you get her to a point where you want to come, try her out like she's an old used
Microphone
bicycle.
testing 1 2 1 2.
Okay.
My daughter.
She's also testing you.
Testing
it's
what?
It's working both
Who
ways.
is dipping it? Look, seriously, Peter.
I'll tell you what.
Guys, we need to wake up. This stuff has to stop.
You know, I'll tell you what.
These are people's daughters, you know.
I'll tell you what. You see, unfortunately, I'm seeing this direction. It's just boxing the men and boxing the men.
No, I'm
and
not
that's why
boxing the men.
Pam is cheering.
I'm not boxing the men, Peter. I'm just saying,
Just
I'm just
say
saying,
one second.
no one has stopped us from enjoying the benefits of marriage, sex and all. I mean, God supports it. He's like, hooray, keep going. The point is, commit. For crying out loud, just commit.
Actually, it
But you see, just 1 second. You see, but there's a risk here of saying that the reward for marriage is sex.
That's part
Who
of it.
says so?
I can
It's
tell you,
part of it.
I
It's
can
part
tell
of
you,
the
if you take it out
Really?
of the deal, most men won't marry. If it wasn't in a deal, I don't think I would
No,
marry.
it's-
You know,
it's-
you know.
it's part
It's just
of the
part of
package.
it, but it's,
It's
not
part
the
of
full
the package.
And actually, that brings me to the other thought that was getting into my mind as we were sharing all this. That actually one of the reasons why most men are avoiding the marriage yet want to keep eating things is because they have a very narrow view and understanding of what marriage really is.
That's what I
Very
wanted to
narrow,
say.
extremely narrow. You think that marriage is just about jump onto a woman in a bed and that's it all, impregnate her and get some kids or don't have them, and you call that marriage? That's just sex.
Which is the fundamental part of
sex is part.
It's part of it.
Indeed, it's
But
part
there's
of marriage.
companionship and so
But
on, yeah.
marriage is not sex. You see. So when you just narrow down the whole thing called marriage to this thing called sex, you are already losing it. That's why you will not see any reason why you should commit. Because anyway, sex, anybody can get it from anywhere. You can go to Speak Road and get it in the next 2 minutes. You can just, but if it is marriage, marriage is much bigger than sex. We need to have a bigger understanding of marriage. Guys, we must know that marriage is not just about sex. It's also about companionship. It's about having a happier life. It's about building a stronger community. It's
Building
about sustainability
legacy.
of the humanity. It's about building legacy. It's not just about pick this one part of a human being, put it in another part of a human being and call it marriage. No way. That's just sex, not marriage.
No,
Hey.
I'm sure Chris agrees 100% to that. Now, Pam, basically,
there's
they've said it all,
Yes,
right?
it's- no, but there's just one other thing.
Okay, please go ahead.
When it comes to commitment and marriage, it depends on what someone views as marriage.
Yeah.
Some people view marriage as just a piece of paper, and they're at home with their wives, and they're asking people, "What is marriage?" She cooks for me. We have sex. We have kids. We are partners. We have business together. We are looking forward in our lives. So, why should we get married? Why should I go to church and get married? It's just a piece of paper. If I burnt it, it would be nothing the next day. So I think that is why so many people do, especially guys, do not put a lot of importance to marriage. And it also depends on your background and where you come from, and maybe
You can't
it's the
blame
truth.
your past for
Not
your
your
present.
past, but it depends on. Definitely, I
Peter,
don't want
there is
to.
another reason, and I'll tell you after the break.
If I was a thief, I can't say I'm a thief because my father was a
You
thief.
could become a thief too.
It's your choice. You said life is about choices.
Some things are
Now, we are
genetic.
here at we are here at the Hilton Garden Inn talking about men who are eating their cake and having it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, we are in the last segment of arguably a pretty heated show, which is talking about men who are eating their cake and having it. Am I a man who's eating his cake and having it? No, I'm not. But I'm being very objective, just to clarify.
Thank you.
Now, we are here at the Hilton Garden Inn talking about men who are eating their cake and having it. We want to engage with you. Go to our Twitter handle. It is NTV MEN UG. Let's get this discussion going. Now, gentlemen and lady, we have bashed men, okay, who are
No, we haven't.
Yes, see, because there's some men,
think
don't
we
get me wrong,
have.
there are some very useless chaps, okay? But men are motivated, all right? I say, if you marry a fool, then you are a fool, okay? You cannot say, you cannot blame this man for being in a space that he's in and say he's just a useless guy. He's your useless guy, you chose him. Number two, some of these men who are eating their cake and having it are under a lot of pressure. Sam, you talked about the guy, the 20 million guy.
Yeah.
Right. I'm under so much pressure. You talked about people want big weddings. I know of women who've put a lot of pressure on their guys to buy cars they cannot afford to do things just to look good in public. All right. Now, I have had to pay dowry for 20 or worth 20 million shillings. All right. I'm expected again to give you a wedding. I'm expected to buy you a car. I'm expected.
It's a lot of expectations.
Exactly. So,
Very unrealistic.
the moment I do that, I say, you know what? That's it. All right. And I will tell you whatever it is you want to hear. You say, when are we getting married? Ah, don't worry, next year. You don't know how I got that 20 million. I could be in serious debt. All right.
So Peter, I believe it or not, I totally agree with you in the sense that men have, the expectations are too high.
Yeah.
On average, a wedding costs somewhere above 50 million shillings.
Yes.
An average wedding.
Yeah.
It's become so expensive to a point that banks
Yes.
have
Package.
a marriage loan
Even
package,
insurance companies.
right?
Is it a marriage package or wedding package?
Wedding
Kwanjula.
package, whatever,
Yeah.
even a
It's
Kwanjula loan.
Kwanjula.
So,
Yeah,
so people take
I
Kwanjula
just don't want
loans.
us to call it a marriage something. It's a wedding something.
Wedding
Yeah,
loan.
yeah, yeah.
So
There's
that's
a
not
difference.
the wedding
Whichever
is
way
not
you
the
say it,
marriage
but the
anyway.
point is that it's gotten so expensive that people have to borrow for love, and there's something very wrong about that.
Definitely very wrong.
Yeah, and I think that society has put roadblocks in the way that we need to deal with.
Yeah.
I totally I'm in for, let's lower the expectations. Let's remove the barriers. I mean, for crying out loud, young people want to get married. What's a 24-year-old, 25-year-old? I mean, where does he get
Then you wonder why he doesn't know where
26
he's
cows
talking about
from?
when he grows up.
Yeah,
He
You
doesn't
get the
know.
cows.
yeah. So yes. So then you want him to postpone marriage till he's 40 to afford your dowry, but then by that time, he's a 40-year-old's mind is in a totally different space, right? So I think we need to temper that a bit.
Yeah, and I
Right?
think in addition to
It's
that,
important to do
Chris,
that.
while you are pushing him to wait before he can marry your daughter, his body is also pushing him to have sex. Let's get real.
Yeah.
The man is 24, 25. The body is clamoring every night, every morning,
It's at the peak.
every lunchtime, every evening. You know.
Lunchtime.
So he comes and says, "I love your daughter. I love your daughter, and I have talked with her, and she's willing to be my wife." And then you say, "First, bring 20 million." And so, because he can't manage all this money, what will he do? He'll just go and talk with your daughter and say, "For you, do you love me or you don't?" And the girl says, "Of course, you know I do. I love you." And he says, "I also love you. So what is stopping us? Your father, the money." And they start having sex, you know, because while we are saying delay the marriage because of the money, the body is not. It doesn't
not
read
delayed,
from
yeah.
the same manual. It doesn't. And that brings me to the issue of, I think I should call it neglect of the boy child in our community today. I think the boy child has been so neglected that even when you talk about why they are eating their cake and have it, I mean, you've not told them these things. As they were growing up, nobody spoke to them.
Yeah.
Nobody talk to them about issues of morals, respecting women, honoring a marriage, commitment, responsibility, knowing that a man is not a man because he has a pair of trousers on, but because he's a person of character and integrity, but because he takes initiative, takes responsibility, is committed to what he believes in, has values, principles around which his life rotates. So now that you have not talked with him, you have been taking your girl, talking with her, you've been having bridal showers, no groom showers, you've been having Save a Girl Child Organization, there is no Rescue a Boy Child Organization. And so you have this daughter, my daughter Petra. Today it is her birthday. I had to first run home and ensure I lay my hands on her and bless her and speak into her life before I came here for this show. You see, I am doing my best concerning my daughter.
Yeah.
But maybe you are doing nothing concerning your son. And he's going to meet my daughter Petra. And they fall in love. Guess what? My empowered girl is meeting, sorry to say, your vegetable boy who can't protect her, who can't fight for her, who can't provide for her. So the society, we are also to blame for what is happening, for the reason why men are not getting into marriage.
No,
we have neglected them.
I agree with you 100% on that.
I hope so.
You've talked about boys being mentored. It's no secret that there are a lot of young men who have their first sexual encounter
Yes.
with the house girl, and it is
That's
not
a very
some-
worrying statistic.
Yes, it is, and it's not anything that's frowned upon. In fact, it's something that is laughable. Now, when a boy grows up with that mentality, what's going to stop him from
Having his
yes eating his cake and having it?
Well, what will stop him are the values you have put into him, if at all you did. What is going to stop him are the peers around his life and what they are continuing to speak into his life. What is going to stop him are the kinds of programs he watches on TV, whether they are good or bad.
Yeah.
What is going to stop him are the books he's reading, are the radio stations he's listening to, especially at around midnight.
Yeah.
Those are the things that are going to either stop him or continue to push him into doing it. So the environment around him, the upbringing.
So when you take your mind off a moment in time,
Yeah.
one guy meeting one girl, and at what point are they engaging? Because having cake and eating it again is really about in what situations do people actually engage in a marital bed scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we really are talking about, and that's why sex was important in this conversation. The thing is that when you take a bird's eye view, you're able to see that mentoring, like you said, is important. Society's expectations
Yeah.
are
Very
important. The situational environment surrounding these young people is important. I know, for example, that there are friends of ours who were in love and wanted to get married, and they ended up dating 9 years because one of their parents was literally throwing roadblocks in the way.
Yeah.
For 9 years.
for 9
Right?
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're expecting that two young people who are in love are going to hold it in for 9 years because you're being difficult.
Yeah.
I think that on one hand, parents need to check themselves,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, you also don't want to forget guys who are not committing to marriage because in their world, they're still having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still checking out the girls and sleeping with this one and the other one and the other one, and he
Shopping.
just so happens to have one more who is at home as he's adding on the others.
All right, now
So-
we've reached that point when we actually do have to wrap up. And my question to us over here is one. We've talked a lot about men and boys and what they need to do. But clearly, the victim, and I put it in quotes,
That's the one.
are the young ladies. All right.
Definitely.
So what can, as your parting shot, Pam, what can young ladies do to not be victims of the cake eating?
Oh, a lot. But it starts with our values. It starts with what is important to you. If what is important to you is just having a man around, you definitely end up in a situation. Let him have his cake and eat it, and we'll stay in that vague situation of we're just raising kids, making money, and just going on. But if you have values and you tell, like I said before, it's all about values and it's all about a choice. And we're letting these men do these things. And that's just the truth. If you don't, no, it's the truth. If you don't put yourself in that situation, you don't end up there. No one is forcing you to go there. Yeah. So if we mind more about what we stand for and what our values are, we definitely won't end up in that situation.
All right, great stuff. Chris, your parting shot as we wind up. Advice to the girls.
Ladies, this is what I would like to say. Most players will tell you that they're good with women. They've been around. They know how to handle the girls.
Yes, they do.
When it's time for them to marry, they want a virgin. I want you to think about that. They marry virgins. Players marry virgins. Will you be the one? Think about it.
Sam, your parting shot.
Well, what I can say is that all that we are saying, I think that is important to say that all that we are saying are just explanations but not justifications. The reasons we have given why, men opt out of marriage and they just keep having the benefits of marriage. All the things we have said are not justifications for continuing to do it. They are just explanations for why it is happening. And when it comes to the ladies, well, I will tell you not to complicate things also for the men. You don't have to do that. I mean, why are you asking that young man for 3 keys? I want a key for your house, I want a key for your own car, and a key for your own office, and he is 24. How many keys do you have? Don't complicate life. Sometimes these men keep jumping from you to Jane and then to Sharon just because you have complicated their lives. They come to you and everything is out of this world. But lastly, have the specific qualities that you want in a man and look out for them seriously when men come. I talk about 2 kinds of qualities. Have the non-negotiable qualities in your life where you say they could be 2, they could be 3, and you say if a man does not have these 2 things, whether he's coming from Mars or Venus or Jupiter, I will not go with him. And then you have the flexibles where you say as long as he has these 2 non-negotiable dynamics, I could just let those go. But at the end of the day, make sure you have your values clear. But Peter, as we wrap it up, let us not again think that it is only men who are opting out of marriage. There are many women who are also just out there to be played on. So it's quite unfortunate. All of us need to rethink this issue of marriage, rethink issues of sex, rethink issues of values so that we can have better lives and a better community.
Great stuff. Now, you've heard it from the lady and the men. We've been talking about men who are eating their cake and having it. If you're a man out there who's eating your cake and having it because you're enjoying the benefits of marriage and you're not married, I think Chris would say shame on you, but
yes.
That's just for me. Have a good night, God bless, and we'll see you next Wednesday only on your favorite show, and that is Men.